All right. Okay. I've got like Haley's on. I don't know if y'all see Haley. I've got Haley like big on my screen. I don't know what I did there. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, I am so excited to talk about this tonight. So, this topic has actually been on my heart for a minute now, like a couple months. And every time I sit down and I'm like, okay, I want this to be our Zoom this week, I get so in my head of like, I don't even know what to say. And that doesn't happen to me often. If you know me at all, you know I always have something to say. But for some reason, this has just been a topic that's been in my heart and I haven't known how to get out. And during my devotions this morning, some of the scriptures I was reading and things just lined up, and I was like, it's time. We're doing this. And I think there's no better time than right now to be talking about this, anyways, with the momentum that's building, with us being in boom season, going forward, hitting the promotions, doing the dang thing, going into conference. And so I want to talk about promoting with peace. So this is going to be a different take on promoting and pushing and hustling and boom season and all the things and you probably have ever heard. But I feel like there's a lot of value to be had in this idea of promoting with peace. And so I want to start with this idea of like, why? Why is it so common in our company and in the industry in general for people to promote, hit a goal, and then turn around and lose it? Right? Like you see that all over the place. If you've been around for a bit, you've had that happen to you. You get this traction, you get things going, you finally feel like it's your time, like everything is broken loose, and then it falls apart. And it's like, what the heck? It creates this unrealistic cycle of frustration where you think you got it together and it falls apart. You think you got it together and then it falls apart. I've been in this hamster wheel for 6 years of getting it together and then losing it and then getting it together and then losing it. And I've been praying and trying to figure out, like, God, what are we missing? Like, what are we doing wrong that has created this cycle, and us just to accept this cycle, right? Every conference, it's not just bonuses, but there's re-rank bonuses. Why do we need re-rank bonuses? Because we're in a culture that you get it and you lose it. So let's incentivize you to figure it out and get it again. And then when you lose it, we'll incentivize you to figure it out and get it again. It's just kind of the way it is. But I don't want to do things the way it is. I want to do it different. I want to find a way to build strong, sturdy forward that doesn't have me always questioning when the other shoe is going to drop. It doesn't have me always questioning, when is this going to fall apart this time? I want to build different. And so I've been trying to think of like, what does it take to switch that? Like, what is the difference maker? And the people that have promoted and stuck, the top 5, 10 of the company that have gotten to ambassador and above, like the Black Diamonds, all the things, like what did they do different that we're missing? And for me, I've narrowed it down to this 2 things. The first is that you have to exchange pushes for consistency. And the second is that you have to trust God's timing. And so we're going to dive into both of those a little bit more, starting with that pushing. Okay. If you've been around for a minute, you've heard us talk about pushing, right? It's end of month push, or it's a 90-day run, or it's boom season and we got to go. Like, it's all this idea of speed, of fighting, of doing extra, of doing more. But the problem with this is what you do to achieve the level is what you have to then do to maintain it. And so when we are preaching, teaching, and doing that you need to step it up to get this goal done, well, the stepped up version of you that achieved that goal has to become the normal version of you for you to maintain it. Because where you were and what you were doing didn't get you to the goal. You had to push, you had to do more. And that's what got you there. So if you go back to what you were doing, you're no longer doing the level it required to make that goal. And so it starts right there, setting up the cycle, because you cannot push, run, or fight forever. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna be tired. Life is gonna happen. Things are gonna come where you've got to be able to step back. And so we have to trade that idea of pushing. And guys, hear me when I say I am not telling you not to work hard, okay? I've been preaching against hustle culture for a year now, okay? But never once have I said I don't work hard. Never once have I given you permission to not work hard, okay? I'm saying that we've got to figure out what your heart is and stick with that, not try to do 10x, right? I don't want you to go diamond in 30 days by getting up 45 posts every single day and killing yourself, because you know that that is not sustainable for you. It's not something that you can do for the rest of your life, because that's what it took to get there. That's what it's going to take to maintain there. And so we've got to find what that is your hard work to get it done. And I want to push the idea that pushing, running, hustling, fighting, grinding, all of that, guys, anyone can do that. Anyone can fight and push and promote. Anyone can do it, okay? And I mean it with love, but like anyone can do that. You can pull it out and get it done. Finally, you can make it happen. You can put in the work for it or whatever. But very, very few people can take the route of consistency instead. And I think that's where the disconnect is when it comes to promoting in this business, holding that promotion, using it not just as a place you got and bounced back from, but as a foundation to keep promoting forward, is instead of pushing and running, is to find consistency. You guys have heard consistency preached on every Zoom that you have ever been on in your entire business, right? Like there's a reason, but I want to bring it even like more plainly, is because consistency, guys, consistency is harder. Consistency is hand down harder than pushing, fighting, running for your goals. Consistency, it's less fun, okay? It's less sexy. And nobody wants to be out there being like, heck yeah, I'm so consistent. Like, no, you want to look at the people who signed 23 customers today. Those are the people you're excited about. But if you sign 23 customers today, good for you, versus if you're consistent and sign one every day, right? At the end of the month, who's going to even out? The one who signed one consistently would still be above the person who did 23 in a day. But we want to glorify and look at the people who are doing the fun, sexy, showy, running, pushing, exciting things, instead of giving the consistency the power that it deserves. Because when you're consistent in this business, you unlock firm foundations as you move forward. So, for example, Sherry Lynn Alcala, she's now the CFO. Her and her husband went all the way to ambassador and beyond. All right. They've been ambassador forever. They were number 2, number 3 income earners. They were floating back and forth there. Now they've moved on to the corporate side. But okay, number 2, she was number 2 for a while of the whole company. Out of 200,000 distributors, she made more money than everyone except for the Duns. All right. And I want you to know that Sherry Lynn Alcala was not someone who ran. She was not someone who fought, who pushed, who did all of that. Sherry Lynn promoted once a year for 8 years. She went executive 1 year. She went Ruby the next year. She went Emerald the next year. She promoted one time for a full year. But when she went ambassador, she kept going from there. She didn't worry about if she was going to maintain ambassador or when ambassador was going to fall apart. She knew she built so strong and sturdy that she was going to never have to worry about that promotion, never have to worry about ambassador. It was set in stone. It was signed, sealed, delivered. She put the work in with the consistency. The number 1 income earners, Stephanie and Joel, they did not get to the top by running and pushing and fighting every single day for the almost 20 years that they've been here, because you cannot work at that level for that long. They've gotten to the top and stayed at the top because they are more consistent than the other 199,999,000 distributors, right? They're not the best at everything, but they are hands down the best at being consistent. That's why they're number 1. And so getting to that rank, especially if you've got that hurdle, right? That one rank in your brain, if you've been around where you're like, I just can't, okay? I just have done it all and I can't get past this. I can't get there. I've gotten so close, but I'm always just a smidge short. It always falls. I just can't. If you want to get past that can't, or if you just want to like get the ball moving, the idea is not to do more work. That's our like innate reaction, right? Like we're not there, we're not getting there. I need to do more. And I want to challenge that because I don't think that we need to do more. I think we need to do less better. I think we need to be more consistent in the things that we are doing. We can't be wishy-washy. You can't do some of it today and then part of it tomorrow and then all of it the next day. You have to be committed to doing everything every day. Because if you're doing everything every day, you don't have to do 10x. You don't have to get 20 hosts to post up a day to hit your goal if you get 10 hosts to post up every single day of your business. You don't have to try to pull all this crazy volume out in the last 3 days of the month when you're working consistently. And yes, guys, there is time to push, okay? If you are close to a goal and running on time, yeah, there's a time to push. I'm not saying that. But you can't be in a state of pushing. Because if you're always in the state of pushing and running and trying to fight forward, you're always going to tire yourself out. Instead, I want you guys to trade that push for consistency, because that's going to be the secret to building longevity and strength within your business. Anyone can push for a promotion, anyone can fight and run, but very few people will ever master consistency in their business. And the people who get that idea down, who can master consistency and get that together, those are the people that over time are going to be at the top. The top 1, top 2, top 3, top 20. Those people are the people who have mastered consistency in their business, not who have just built up the endurance to run forever. So with that, the second part of all of that is the timing, right? You have to trust the timing, because if you're not running, that means that it's not happening in the timing you want. I can guarantee it. Because the timing you want was yesterday, right? Like, am I right? Like, you wanted the promotion done already. Even day one, you wanted to come in here already a diamond. Like, you wanted it done already. And so if we're switching this idea of pushing and running for consistency and building the right way, you've got to know it's not happening in your timing. And you got to know that from the get-go. Because if you're trying to make the pivots of like, yeah, I want to build better, I want to build stronger, I want to build a foundation, but I want to build it now, you're constantly going to be fighting against yourself. You're going to be second guessing everything, feeling like what you're doing isn't working. And y'all, I'm coming to you from experience, all right? If you guys have heard me talk about it, last year was my year of purposeful destruction, I call it, where I let God come in and wreck everything. And I really started implementing this kind of concept within my entire life, letting go of the idea of running, of pushing, of fighting, and instead just like accepting where I am and where God's going to take me to next. And it has been a miserable journey, okay? Like, I'm not even lying. It's been real freaking tough. I went double diamond in 8 months when I started. I went fast, I pushed, I ran. And now instead, I started all of this idea of rebuilding and doing it consistently in October, not this last October, the October before, okay? And every month I wanted to get back. At that point, I had dropped all the way down to Ruby, which is the first time that I had been paid as Ruby, aside from the very first month of this business that I promoted Ruby, all right? This is over 5 years, or I guess at the time, like almost 5 years in the business. And I was like, okay, I'm going to build the right way. I'm going to build consistently. I'm going to build with firmness and foundation and strength instead of running ahead. And every month I was ready to get back to double. Every month I was wondering how the heck I'm going to pay my bills. Every month I was feeling discouraged because I know I'm better than this. I know I can do this. I've done it before. Why the heck is it not coming together? I felt all the freaking feelings every month. And here we are over a year later. Like, October was a year of this journey. Guess what? We still ain't double. We still haven't got back there. And it's been this road internally of like, I want it fast, but I know it's going to be worth it right. And I just want to tell you guys, it's worth it right. We started this month like 4,000 from double. My team did. We're already pushing, dropping below the 2,000 mark. All right. It has just come together in ways that I can't fathom, in ways that I'm not the only one doing it, in ways that my team are fighting and showing up for their own businesses, in ways that I promoted double a bunch of times over the last 6 years, but never like this, because it wasn't in my timing. It wasn't when I wanted it. It wasn't when I was rushing and trying to make it happen and fighting forward and 10xing and doing more, but when I instead slowed down. I decided to figure out consistency in my business. I decided to figure out better leadership in my business. I decided to care about my people, about my customers, about myself, and make space for me. I started to really break it down to the foundation. And with time, that has built me a business better than it ever has been. My paycheck isn't the highest it's ever been, but my business and the way I feel about it sure as heck is. And the cool thing about God is during the journey, I never didn't pay my bills, right? Like God still provided, even if it was a way that it wasn't the way I wanted. He still got you in the journey, especially when you align what you're doing and where you're going with him. And so that's the second part of this, guys, is you've got to trust God's timing. So I want to read you. This is what started, like, push me forward to go ahead and make this Zoom happen. I was reading in this. Okay, so this is the best freaking devotional. It's called Whispers of Rest by Bonnie Gray, and it's like a book. There's like 6 pages per day, and I love it. It's so good. So it's a parable out of Mark. It's Mark 4:26-29. It says, "This is what God's kingdom is like. It's as though someone scattered seed on the ground, then sleeps and wakes night and day. The seed sprouts and grows, but the farmer doesn't know how. The earth produces crops all by itself. From first the stalk, then the head, then the full head of grain. Whenever the crop is ready, the farmer goes out to cut the grain because it's harvest time." I freaking love this, especially when you put it to the business, because we talk all the time about planting and harvesting here, right? You got to plant your seeds, you got to get in the conversations, you got to do the things, and when the rain comes and the harvest comes and it's happening. And I just love how this story kind of paralleled to that, because it said, it's as though someone scattered seed on the ground. So that's our conversations, okay? That's the people that we're talking to, the seeds we're planting, the conversations we're getting in. Then the person sleeps and wakes nights and day. They're not tilling the ground. They're not doing crazy amounts of work. They're not over here micromanaging. They're sleeping, waking up and sleeping. That's it. The seed, though, it still sprouts and grows, and the farmer doesn't know how. The earth produced the crops all by itself. When things are in God's timing, guys, you don't know how, but it comes together. Things that make no sense to you start happening. People that you haven't talked to in 4 years all of a sudden are messaging you like, "Hey, can I buy something?" You have people who are asking you to upsell. You have all kinds of things that make absolutely no sense. You open up eSuite and you're like, "What is this volume? Where did this come from? Who the heck is that just signed a customer? I don't even recognize the name." Like all of a sudden, things start happening that you can't explain because it's not in your strength and it's not in your timing, but because you built well, you stewarded your time and the gift of this business well. Things come together in an unstoppable fashion when it's the right time. Hannah was going to be on tonight, but she is dealing with some life stuff, so she wasn't able to. So I was going to have her share a story. So instead, I'm going to share her story, but about when she went diamond. So Hannah promoted diamond October of last year. And it's so crazy when things are the right timing, you guys. There's nothing that you can do to stop it. And that's how her diamond promotion went. It was like 6:00 in the evening on the last day of the month. We had C La Vie the next morning. We had to be at the airport at like 5 a.m. So we were packing, trying to get everything together, and we were fighting tooth and nail to maintain Hannah's emerald. Okay. We were not looking at her promotion. We were just like, what the heck are we doing? It is not even coming together. This was at 6 p.m. By 10:30, Hannah maintained emerald and promoted diamond. Earned a diamond, like I think it was like a $5,000, $10,000 diamond bonus, promoted her husband's account to emerald in a matter of like 4 hours. When it's God's timing, guys, there's nothing that you can do to get in the way and stop it. And it can happen that fast. That's what I love about this business, especially when you pair it up with the power of God that can work through it. When it's the right timing, it can happen so quickly. From 6 p.m. where we were like, what the heck? We need so much more volume, to 10:30 being like, where did it all come from? Like, I remember I was sitting on the couch, rocking back and forth on my phone, like, oh my gosh, telling my husband, I'm like, there's another one. There's another one. Like, what is happening? I don't understand what is happening. It just came together. And it can happen that quickly in your business too. It also can take some time, because Hannah's been in for 2 years. She's not on here to correct me. 2-ish years. Oh, wait, yeah, 2 years. She joined like when her daughter was 2 weeks old, and her daughter's the same age as my daughter. My daughter's about to be 2. So she's been in for almost 2 years. She had planted the seeds. She had done the work. Hannah has always built right. She's never been someone to push and run. She builds with consistency and longevity in that. And when the timing aligned for her, there was nothing we could have done to get in the way of that. Things just happened, and that is going to happen in your business too, especially if you can trade the idea that you have to do this, that you have to promote, that you have to sign the customers, that you have to make it happen, that you have to hit this goal, that you have to whatever. And if instead we just accept the workload, we just accept the path, the journey, what we got to do day in and day out, and leave the rest to God. It's in his hands anyway. We just like the illusion that we actually have power in this, but we don't. Like, it's all in his hands anyway. So why not just let the results lie there? Why don't we just trust him to finish out the next bonus, to earn the next cup when it launches, to hit the next promotion, to re-rank, to whatever the big goal is for you? What if we just work every day and focus on what we are supposed to do and do it every single day? Like, God's watching. Like, John Ocala is sitting there watching you. Like, I will only write you a check if you do your work. If you had someone watching you like that, wouldn't you show up for your business? But realistically, showing up for your business like that will get you the check, will get you the big things that you want. And then we just let go of the results, because that is just going to free you to enjoy your business where you're at. I've had fun at my business over this last year. Of all the ranks I did not want to be, I've made incredible friends. I've built different. And it was only because I let go of the idea that I needed to be somewhere else. I let go of the idea that it was on me to get back to this rank or get back to this promotion. And instead, I learned to fall in love with the journey of what I have to do every day to get there. And I just showed up for today. And then tomorrow, I just showed up for tomorrow. And then the next day, I just showed up for that day. And I let the rest go, because I trust in God's timing, it's all going to come together. And when that time comes, it's going to be so much more glorious than anything I could imagine. And it's going to be so strong that I'm not going to have the fear of when the shoe's going to drop, when it's all going to fall back apart, or anything like that, because it's built differently. It's built sustainably. It's built on consistency. And you guys can do that in your business too. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. This has just been on my heart so much here recently, because I think this has just been such a big pivot in my business. I'm very red. I'm very run forward. I'm ready, very like, I will outwork everyone and their mother. And don't tell me that someone's about to hit a goal bigger than mine. Like, let's go. I'm going to make it happen. And the idea of having to let go of that control and slow down has been so hard, but so beautiful. And I want to encourage you guys to do the same, because if you can slow down in the promotions and just do your work and let God handle the rest, you can see things so differently in your business. You can build to different levels that you couldn't have before, and you don't have the same worry and fear about it falling apart, because you know you did your job well. And when we do our job well, when we steward what God gives us well, when we put our hands to things well, he blesses that. And that's all we're called to do, just to show up, fall in love with the journey, do the work, and then it's going to come together at the perfect timing. As long as you are consistent, as long as you keep going and don't stop, it will inevitably, it has to. It's the law of, like, I don't know, one of those Isaac Newton laws. Like, it has to happen. You just have to trust the process and God's timing. So I love you guys. I'm going to pray us out, and I will post this recording. But dear Lord Jesus, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you so much for the people that you have on. I was praying beforehand that you had the right people here at the right time. So I'm hoping that they took something away. I'm hoping that something was, needed for them, that you were able to speak through this, and encourage anyone also who watches the recording, like, to go and to challenge the norm of this business, to challenge the way that we approach it, to build slower, to build stronger, to build more sustainably within you and give you full reign of the results, to let you take that burden off of us, to let you lighten our load, and us just to fall in love with the day to day, just to fall in love with the journey, and then just to trust that you are good and you are faithful and you are will hold your promises to us. And as long as we do the work, as long as we believe for it, as long as we keep showing up authentically as ourselves, going to be the best versions of us for you, we know that you, in the perfect, most beautiful timing, are going to ordain the right moments and pull it all together for us in ways grander than anything we could imagine. And I'm just so excited to watch that continue to unfold here. In Jesus' name, amen. And I love you guys. Have an awesome rest of your night.